Okay. It looks like Dan is back. I'll let him in. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan Kearns, and I'll be your moderator tonight. First and foremost, welcome to this community outreach meeting on February 7th, 2022 for Coyote Cannabis Corporation, a proposed Tier 2 marijuana cultivator and marijuana product manufacturer. The facility is proposed to be located at 420 West Street in Uxbridge, Massachusetts, 01569. Today we have with us Blake Mensing as a representative from Coyote Cannabis. The meeting will be open with a presentation on the proposed establishment, followed by an opportunity for community engagement and questions. We ask that you hold all questions until the end of the presentation, at which point I'll open the floor. And with that, I'll let Blake take it away.
Thanks very much, Nathan. For those of you in attendance at the prior meeting, this meeting is being held again because the newspaper notice we requested to be published did not, in fact, get published the last time. So this will be the same content. This meeting will now just count because the newspaper did, in fact, follow through. We approved the proof the last time, and for whatever reason, they didn't print. So here we are again. So as Nathan said, this is a proposed Tier 2 cultivator and co-located product manufacturer for an adult use cannabis operation to pursue both licenses. It will be at 420 West Street, Uxbridge, Massachusetts, 01569. This is an entity that had gotten an HCA with Uxbridge for a much smaller building. We had an opportunity to get a larger building, which is a setback on the hill on West Street. And we jumped to the opportunity just because it allowed us a little bit more space internally. So the first required topic has to do with covering information that's adequate to demonstrate that the location will be maintained securely. So we've contracted with a security installer, and the goal is to adhere to every standard enumerated in 935 CMR 500.110. The Cannabis Control Commission regulations go into really granular detail about what our security system must contain in terms of capabilities and bells and whistles. The first sort of line of defense is that there'll be commercial grade locks on every door. Every square inch of the facility, except for the bathrooms, will be covered by cameras. That will be 24/7, 365 recordings. We'll keep those recordings for 90 days as the statute requires. The regulations require, and the regulations also specify that it must be full HD, which is 1080p resolution. Each frame must be freezable and legible with an irremovable date, time, location, watermark, so we understand which camera was capturing what part of the facility. Similarly, every establishment agent will go through a background check and fingerprinting process before they get their marijuana establishment agent registration card. That ensures that we have people whose backgrounds are known to us, and everyone who has to be eligible to be employed in this facility will be 21 plus. So that's a good segue for next thing we have to discuss is steps to be taken to prevent diversion to minors. So the first line of defense is you can't get into this facility if you're under 21. So if there were a police officer in Uxbridge who happened to be on the force at age 20 and they came a knocking, sorry, your badge does not trump state law, you wouldn't be allowed in. So the chances of anyone getting entry into this facility under 21 is really, really low. It's under lock and key. You have to have a valid business purpose for being there. So the state can inspect, local board of health, town police, fire department, that kind of thing. But it does still require the age of majority. The other component that's really helpful tool to prevent diversion to minors is the state seed to sale tracking requirement. So every product that comes out of our facility and will be eligible to sell to retailers, other cultivators, other manufacturers only. Every product that comes out of our facility will have a unique alphanumeric code that will follow it both within the facility and run through it until it gets to its ultimate destination. So that seed to sale tracking platform is called Metric, METRC. It's state required. We cannot misplace anything in the facility or once it leaves the facility without having a chain of command in terms of who had custody of that product. So what we put in our contracts with retail stores is, if our product ends up in the hands of a minor and we know from that trail of breadcrumbs that you sold it, that it's not going to be just, put the blinders on and ignore that. We would terminate a relationship if an entity weren't able to, sell to people who are responsible adults, and having this get into the hands of minors. The next required topic has to do with the plan to positively impact the community. That has a state regulatory meaning and obviously the sort of more local concern. So for the state, we are donating to an entity called the Big Hope Project. It's a nonprofit that does work in the 29 areas of disproportionate impact identified by the Cannabis Control Commission's basically statistical review. They do educational events, expungement clinics. They do things such as professional attire, drives, and I was at an event where they did, professional headshots, haircuts, and resume writing, review on the spot. So we're really happy to partner with that organization. And in terms of local good, we are looking to, get any suggestions on where volunteer hours or charitable donations, in town would do the most good. So my brother and I, my brother's the CEO. We're the son of a veteran, so we always look to help veterans as we can. So our plan is to reach out to the veterans agent to say, hey, is there anything, again, where our dollars or hours of volunteerism could do any good? The next required topic has to do with presenting information adequate that the location will not constitute a nuisance, as that term is defined by law. So yeah, long story short, with this facility, this is not a public-facing business. We can only sell to other licensed cultivators, manufacturers, retailers, or wholesale delivery operators, which is a license type that's actually not available in Uxbridge. But yeah, the main sort of barrier to not creating a nuisance is we don't have an intent to have lots of traffic coming through. It'll be, likely a weekly delivery of either materials or picking up products to go to our wholesale partners. And these are not, 18-wheelers. These are going to be, Sprinter van kind of, electrician's van size thing. And this will not be a heavy traffic driver. We're going to have, I think, around 8 to 10 employees. So it's not going to be super, big draw, and we have ample parking to accommodate that. The other major source of nuisance for a cultivator could be odor. We are a tier 2, which entitles us to grow up to 10,000 square feet of canopy. This building is only 12,000 square feet. So I think we're going to probably be in and around 6,000 square feet total. And just for context, the smallest you can be in the state is 5,000 square feet of canopy. So we are, a small fish in a big pond. My profession as a cannabis attorney has exposed me to lots of ancillary service professionals, design professionals, architects, engineers. And the way to handle smell in a facility such as this is to make each, grow room within the larger shell of the building as airtight as is possible. The reasoning there is that if smell is emanating from our facility, that means air is coming in. And it's frankly just too valuable of a crop to try to risk it against, pests, pathogens, mold, et cetera. So yeah, there's a commitment in the host community agreement with Uxbridge to minimize odors. The state regulations require that you control the odors, and the primary strategy and technology we'll employ to control the odors to avoid creating any nuisance from that odor is carbon filtration on our HVAC system. So yeah, anytime air leaves our building, from a vent, it will have gone through a filtration system. As I said, we're hoping to get around 6,000 square feet of canopy in this 12,000 square foot building. The rest will be offices, break rooms, bathrooms, and the manufacturing sort of arm of the operation under a separate license in the same building will be towards the back half of that building. So yeah, we are committed to being good neighbors. We're accessible. I'm just down the road in Holliston. We are not, some big corporate backed enterprise. This is friends and family funded with one primary investor. And we are just looking to, win on quality, not quantity. We will never outproduce the bigger players, but frankly, the products they produce just aren't good enough for my taste. So we opted to create a company where we can cater to someone who's been a little more experienced with cannabis. This is not, we're not trying to be the Bud Light of weed. We'd rather be, a small craft, analogous to a craft brewer. So with that, I discussed the location type and license types, the security policies, our steps, again, supported by the state seed to sale tracking platform and our security infrastructure to prevent diversion to minors. We talked about the state level plan to impact the community, positively impact the community, as well as seeking information from folks of where dollars or volunteer hours could do the most good in town. And yeah, the avoidance of nuisance is our commitment. We want to be, relatively anonymous. And the point I always make is that any state license, any local permit, any local contract, none of those is a license to be a nuisance. So there's always going to be a private right of nuisance. The chief culprits here could have been odor. We have a plan in place to control that with technology. So with that, I'll pass it back to Nathan.
Thanks, Blake. We'll now move into the community participation portion of tonight's meeting. If you have any questions or comments about the proposed site, you can signal me with the raise hand button. If you dialed in, you can raise your hand by typing *9. Not seeing any raised hands. Okay, Dan raised his hand. Give me 1 second here. Go ahead, Dan.
So I sat through the first meeting, and I guess I didn't really have so much questions, but more of a comment / thank you to Blake as far as in his first meeting, he talks about community outreach and all that stuff. And I had reached out to him concerning another issue with another facility in the area, and Blake provided me some information, which turned out very helpful and has actually panned out well going through the town. So I just wanted to chime in on this meeting, just kind of, if anybody else had joined, just to kind of say, Blake is so far, from what I see, a man of his word when it comes to taking care of the community around there and not trying to be a nuisance himself.
I appreciate that. And incidentally, I did talk to Steve Setti and Michael Galeriani. They were asking me questions about some of the odor control technologies I had seen, and that facility did come up. So yeah, I'm happy to hear that it's on their radar.
It's definitely on the radar. I have no more grow lights after 6 p.m. now. Great. So very, very helpful.
Good. Well, as I said, you got to follow the rules or you can't play the game. So yeah, it's incumbent upon every licensee to know the rules and know the commitments they're making to the community.
All right. Is that all, Dan?
Yep.
Great.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for your comment. Okay, with that, I don't see any other questions from the audience, and so I'll conclude tonight's community outreach meeting for Coyote Cannabis Corporation. Everyone have a good night.
Thanks very much.